Chapter 11. Your lies won't work this time. Kalissa's point of view. I turned to see my cousin Varun looking pissed at Camilla and her followers. The minute they looked at him, they all almost started purring. I knew what they were thinking. He was tall, dark, and handsome. I am sure it was his obvious 8-pack that had caught their eyes. If they had looked carefully, they would have noticed that we favored a little. He has the same dark, almost black hair as me. He just ended up with his mother's brown eyes instead of his father's green eyes. I've never seen Varun upset. He is as calm and even-tempered as his father is, so seeing him upset was strange. I suddenly realized that he was there to defend me, and a warmth grew in my chest. When you go long enough without being cared for or loved, it means even more when you do finally receive it. I had to close my eyes to try to hold my tears back. Thankfully, they were still totally focused on my cousin and trying to flirt. They were no longer paying any attention to me. I happened to glance behind them and saw Aiden and his crew heading this way. Crap, this is going to turn bad quickly. I knew that we needed to leave here. It was about to be 7 against 2, and I didn't want my cousin to get hurt because I have bullies. Varun, we can go back to the condo. I don't want to deal with them. There's no point to it. Some of their friends are coming. I don't want you getting hurt. I told him quietly after I walked up to him.
I'm not worried about any of them. They're obviously weak, and she started it. Callie, she tried to kick you in the ribs. She was deliberately trying to hurt you. I heard the whole exchange. All you asked was for her to get out of your sunlight. She was the one that was the evil bitch, not you.
Varun defended me, and he wasn't quiet about it. I have to say that hearing Camilla gasp as he called her an evil bitch was pretty funny. How dare you! I was just checking on a schoolmate. She has lost her job. She needed that job, as she's poor. I felt bad for her, so I went over to check on her. That is all. You're twisting my words. Camilla sobbed as she knew the boys were walking up. Sure enough, they took one look at her crying, and they all assumed that she was the wrong party.
What the hell, Kalissa? What did you do to Camilla? You should apologize for upsetting her.
Liam insisted. You need to stop right there, Liam. She was the one who tried to assault me. I did nothing to her. So I have nothing to apologize for. You were already on your way over here when it happened. Don't act like you didn't see it. I didn't start this. She did. Take her and her little friends and head back over to your area. You're not wanted or needed here, I told them. I liked seeing the stunned expressions on their faces after I had spoken to them like that. I don't care if they like me or not. She was in the wrong. She tried to assault me. I'm not going to deal with her anymore. I will avoid every single one of them during my senior year. I knew every one of them, and I know how they are. They cannot be trusted. I won't be falling for their crap anymore.
Well, you probably instigated it. Camilla is a sweet girl. She wouldn't have tried to hurt you if you hadn't tried to hurt her first. You're clearly in the wrong here. We're not leaving until you apologize to her.
Liam replied, and he took a step forward to show me that he would force me to apologize if he needed to. My cousin Varun stepped forward and blocked me from their view.
I heard the entire exchange. Your girl was in the wrong. She started crying because I called her an evil bitch. That wasn't Callie's fault. You need to go back to where you were. I can assure you that you don't need to push this any further, or we will have to get the police involved,
he told them. I was thankful that he was here with me today, but I didn't want to involve the police in it.
What in the hell are you talking about involving the police for? Camilla didn't do anything. She's the victim here, not Clarissa. You need to just keep on moving down the beach, as you do not need to get involved in this. Plus, no one wants you here anyway. You're not needed in this, so don't try to threaten us. My father's a lawyer. He'll deal with you both if you push this too far.
Liam snapped at Varun.
I was here, and I was a witness to the whole thing. Attempted assault is a serious charge, one that will follow your little friend here and potentially keep her from getting into college. Is that what you want? Because I see an officer on the beach that I can flag down now.
Varun told Liam. He then started walking back out towards the surf, waving to where an officer was patrolling in an ATV. He started heading straight to Varun to see what he needed.
What in the hell, Clarissa? What have you done?
Ethan said, staring at me in shock. I've never stood up to them like this before. To say they were all stunned was obvious. I was lying here minding my own business, Ethan. She walked up with her mindless minions and started up as usual. Let me ask you brainiac something. When have I ever started something? I'll wait. I know that it is going to take a minute or two before your neurons start firing. I responded to them all in a mocking tone. I watched his face go from shocked to pissed off once he realized what I had said to them. It was fun to watch the realization hit. He started to approach me, as I guessed he had now figured out what I was implying. What are you planning to do? You know the police are here now, right, Ethan? I asked him in the same mocking tone.
You're lucky this time, bitch. I'll get you back for this,
Ethan said as he returned to behind the group. His hand ran through his light brown hair in frustration. I saw that his hazel eyes were narrowed at me, and he was clearly pissed. I didn't do anything wrong, so his anger at me is undeserved. Varun and the officer walked up to the group. The officer looked at me and asked,
Miss, are you hurt?
No. When I realized what she was about to do, I rolled away from her to keep her foot from connecting. She thought I was alone and took a shot. I'm glad that she didn't connect. She plays soccer, so I'm sure that she would have broken at least one of my ribs if she had connected. I told him. Clarissa, I didn't do anything to you. Why are you lying, Clarissa? I know you like my boyfriend, but lying about me is taking this whole thing too far. You should be ashamed of yourself, Camilla stated in a wounded tone as she snuggled into Aiden. Her two friends, Ariana and Chloe, both started up in defense for Camilla. They usually do. They take up for her in school, too. They're the exact reason that nothing has ever been done about the bullying that I have to put up with. They both told the officer that Camilla hadn't done anything to me and that they were there the whole time. They had both put on their most innocent expressions for him. This wasn't the first time they had completely lied in defense of their friend. I was going to let this whole thing go at first. I was only defending myself right up until that point. I needed to send them a message today. They needed to know not to mess with me when we went back to school. I was just scared to take the next step. Taking up for myself was not something that I normally did, especially with this group. I looked up at Varun to see what he thought. He nodded at me and I knew that I had his support, so I said, Am I correct in assuming that even though she did not connect, it is still considered attempted assault? What do I need to prove it? Witnesses or a video of it? I asked him. The smile that she had on her face just 1 minute ago was now gone.
Either of them will work. I know that you have a witness. He stopped and told me what had happened, but if you have a video, that would be best if you want to press charges against her. If she's been bullying you, that can show a pattern, if you have reported it at school. Do you have a video of what happened? The officer asked. I do, actually. I can also get you the reports I filed at school. I motioned to the 7 people standing across from me. They've always been able to get away with it. It is either 3 against 1 or 7 against 1, like today. The guys were not even here when it happened. They're just so used to taking her side in everything that it just comes naturally to them. The school has never punished her because her mother is on the school board. She was smart enough at school to just keep it verbal. It is hard to prove what was said without audio, but I happen to have a camera installed on my balcony. If you can give me your email, I can send it to you. I'm going out of town for about a month to visit family. I can help if you need anything further from me then. I just wanted to try to get a restraining order to keep her away from me, I told the officer. I motioned to my balcony, which was about 800 feet away. This is not your house, Calissa. You live like 10 blocks from here.
Ethan spoke up again and then flushed. How the hell does he know where I live? I have never had any of them anywhere near my house. I don't have my driver's license with me, officer, so if you want to come to my house, I can show you the video. You can get my information and take my statement at the same time, I told him. He nodded and went to get his ATV to drive over to my condo. Chapter 12. Proving Camilla Wrong. Calissa's point of view. Calissa, you can't be serious about this. Why would you do that to me? I only came over here to check on you after I found out that you had lost your job. I was worried about you, Camilla told me, bringing the tears back again. She knew that she was getting the guys worked up by acting like she was the victim. We're not friends, Camilla. We've never been friends, so why would you come to check on me? You came over here to insult me and to tell me that I no longer had a job. You didn't come over here out of concern. You came over because you have to take every opportunity you can to mess with me. They might be dumb enough to fall for it, but you have done too much to me over the years for me to fall for the same. Keep your alleged concern to yourself. If this becomes a misdemeanor for you, that is good enough for me. But let me assure you, we do not need to speak to each other ever again. I told her. Why are you being so hateful to her, Calissa? I mean, her kick didn't even connect. Can you not give her a break this one time? Ariana asked. She's Camilla's best friend and biggest supporter. She stood there with her hands on her hips. Her brown hair with the blonde streaks running through it still looks almost perfect, despite the wind today. Her blue eyes were covered by her sunglasses. She's trying to look imposing towards me as she stares me down with a frown on her face. Yeah, why would you do this to her? You might ruin her chances of getting into college if she gets a charge against her. Did you even think of that? All she did was call you fat. It is not a big deal. She has said worse to you before. Why are you having a problem with how she treats you all of a sudden? Chloe fired off. She was the third member of this trio. She looked like she was ready to do a photo shoot on the beach. Her shoulder-length blonde hair was covered by a sun hat. Her narrowed hazel eyes showed just how mad she was at my not letting this go like I normally end up doing. So, just to be clear here, in your mind the bully is the victim here. Oh, because she's going to get in trouble for her actions? Look, just because she didn't connect her kick doesn't mean she didn't intend to injure me. She won't be getting a free pass this time around. I cannot believe that any of you are serious right now. Why should I just be happy about not being injured and let it go? This time Camilla is finally going to face some consequences, I announced to their group. What is wrong with them? Camilla had fully intended to hurt me. That was her whole purpose in coming over here. When that didn't work, she raised the bar to attempt to assault me. I just barely managed to get out of her way. I was not as athletic as they were. I was just now getting exercise with my training. I've lost about 5 pounds since I last saw them when school ended. I knew that I had pushed back hard with no notice that I was going to. They have pushed me enough. I wasn't going to let them get away with it again. I have my family behind me now, supporting me. I was not alone anymore. Camilla, Ariana, and Chloe were all on the soccer team at school. They were great players, and they were all very fit and athletic. Her kick, if it had connected, would have resulted in a big injury for me. I could hear Camilla's sobs getting louder as it finally sunk into her that I was not going to be bending this time. I didn't care who spoke up in her defense. The guys were surfing and not paying attention. They can believe her side all they want. I had it on video. She was caught this time. I just wanted to be left alone, and this was a first step in making sure that they all understood that I was not going to put up with their crap anymore.
Calissa, she's clearly sorry for what she did. You're being too aggressive here. None of us are used to you being so mean to others. Are you sure that you didn't say or do anything to her to make her mad enough to kick you?
Aiden asked as he wrapped his arms around Camilla's waist. He's showing where his support lies. Now my feelings are truly hurt. He already believes her. She's crying so hard right now and acting like she's the injured party here. I've never started anything with any of them. I didn't start it this time either. Yet the blame is still being placed on me. The fact that I'm the victim in this has not sunk into any of them. I'm not going to argue about it with them anymore. They can believe whatever they want to believe. Nothing that I say or do will be able to change that. I only asked her to get out of my sunlight. I was enjoying my peace at the beach. I was trying to take a nap when I was rudely interrupted. You always just accept her words as being the truth. I don't have anything to say to you all except for this. I wish you all well in the new school year and make sure you find another tutor. I don't care if all of you are about to fail. I will never help any of you ever again after how you've treated me. Get your rich parents to find someone else for you to shaft. The level of intelligence that you're showing in believing her when you're well aware of what she does makes me pity you all. Good luck in your senior year, I told them. I then turned away to gather my items.
Wow, that is a very impressive talent, being able to cry on cue. You should become an actress. If I hadn't seen exactly what happened, I guess I might have fallen for it too. You're the one at fault, yet you're acting like the one who was attacked. No one asked you to come over here to mess with Callie. No one told you to try to break Callie's ribs, yet you still tried. You have these boys falling for whatever shit you're lying down. I heard exactly what you said to her, all of it. You insulted her, and you were completely in the wrong for it. If you don't hear anything else I have said to you today, know this. If any of you try to hurt Callie again, I'll be dealing with you myself. Trust me when I tell you that you will not get away with it. I don't care who any of your parents are. Callie is not alone anymore. She has a family that is willing to protect her, and believe me, we will. Come on, Callie. I'll give the officer the video from my balcony too. Mine will be even closer to where we are,"
Varun told me as he escorted me away. The cop had started driving the ATV our way, and I needed to show him which apartment was mine. I didn't look back. I was done with all of them. I couldn't care less anymore. If I need to, I'll just go to school for the one class I need. I'll make sure that it is an early one. That way I can avoid all of them at school. I'll make the decision based on what subject I need to take to complete my credits. I was so happy to see Varun, but I wasn't expecting him to be coming back today. I know that something has happened, but I will have to wait to find out what, as we can't speak in front of anyone else. The officer was really nice to me about this whole thing. Varun went to my uncle's condo while I let him into mine to see what happened. I started the video export for him a minute and a half before she approached me. It showed that I was woken up, as I had jerked in surprise when she approached. Who wouldn't? Her voice was highly irritating. He saw the whole thing and agreed that if I hadn't moved, I would have been hurt. She kicked at me pretty hard. It is even clearer in the video from my uncle's condo. When I mentioned that she was the captain of the soccer team and that her kicks were pretty strong, he knew exactly what I was saying. I filled out a statement about what happened. Varun did as well. He was pissed. The group had moved back to where the guys had been surfing, closer to the pier. Varun stood there on my balcony, his large arms crossing his chest, and glaring at them. The girls still foolishly thought that they had a chance with him. They tried to wave at him, and he just shook his head in frustration at them and went back into my condo. I explained to the officer that I would be out of town on a trip. I also told him that if he texted me, I'd be able to respond. The officer was a big help. He knew what was going on when he arrived. Varun was 25, an adult among the group of teenagers there. Liam and Ariana were both 18. They had both been held back a year in the 8th grade. Aiden was 18 too. His birthday was 2 days after mine. He had been held back a year the same way I was, so he started school at 6 years old too. The rest of the group would be turning 18 before the end of the year. The officer knew that I just wanted her to be forced to leave me alone. He told me that since Camilla's mother was on the school board, I now had a way to make sure that she didn't bully me this school year. I could get a restraining order against her. We both knew that although her hands were tied, there was nothing to stop the rest of the group from doing it. He did mention that both girls with Camilla had lied to him about what had happened, that if needed, he could try to see what could be done to them to help me. Lying to the police is not a good idea. It was nice that he thought that they guys wouldn't step in and do it for her. I had already figured that out myself. I'm going to speak to my uncle about what needs to be done next. I am seriously considering just going to live with my family in the Monterey Canyons. Nothing is holding me here at all anymore. Kalissa's point of view. Varun and I headed out to the pier to grab some dinner. We had sandwiches for lunch, and I wanted to go by the pier one more time before I left. We have a lot of fun riding the roller coaster and the Ferris wheel. We grabbed some food and then later on sat on one of the benches to look out at the water while the sun went down. We headed down the steps on the south side of the pier to walk back home. We both walked in silence as we passed group after group of surfers. I know a couple of them. I was even friends with 3 of them. I always gave them free ice water and used my discount to get them some food sometimes. They only thought about surfing. They didn't have good pockets and the bodysuits that they could get to. A lot of the time they forget to bring money with them. You can't leave your stuff behind on the beach unless you have someone there to watch out for it. People take unattended stuff all the time. You had to get tricky to hide it. They would walk from their house down to the pier to surf most days of the week. They couldn't take their keys with them into the water because the house keys would rust. Your electric keys will malfunction because of the water. They had no choice but to try to hide their stuff, sometimes leaving them with me at work. The 3 of them were kind to me. We weren't really what I would call friends, but at least they didn't pick on me. Cade was 19 and he had just graduated the previous year. He was going to be 20 soon, and he was the nicest of the 3 guys. He had shaggy brown hair, streaked by the sun, and was in bad need of a haircut. His brown eyes were always creased from smiling. He never let anything get to him. He let everything roll off his back. He hung out with 2 other guys, Nico and Jackson. They all loved to surf. Nico and Jackson graduated 2 years ago. They would both be turning 21 soon, and they all had a lot of respect from the rest of the surfers. Nico had dark hair and dark brown eyes. You could never tell what he was thinking. His eyes and face remained impassive when you were speaking to him. He wasn't mean, he just wasn't very talkative. Unless you were speaking about surfing, then he was happy to speak. Jackson was the oldest of the group, 2 months older than Nico was. He had dark brown hair with streaks from the sun running through it, and his hazel eyes always seemed to see right through you. Although he didn't speak a lot, he was nice to me too. They would surf until late and sometimes wait for me to get off and walk home with me. They lived on the same street as my grandmother's house. Jackson had inherited the house they lived in from his grandparents. It was a small 3-bedroom home, and they liked being so close to the pier. They also worked together at the same restaurant. They earned money to pay for all of their groceries and pay the rest of the bills for their house. They only worked 4 days a week, but they were surfing every single day. I appreciated them walking me home, but I always separated from them early. I didn't want to take a chance on them hearing my grandmother yelling at me when I got home. I would have been mortified if that had happened. I remembered them at school. They were all 3 pretty easygoing. Because they played several sports well, they were all very popular in school. I was surprised that they even knew who I was, as we didn't interact together in school. I was pretty intimidated by them in school. But when they showed up to order at the place where I worked, not realizing that none of them had brought money, I had helped them out that day. Ever since then, they have been waiting and walking me home for at least 2 of the 4 days that I worked. If we have any food left over at the end of the day, I would wrap it up and take it out to them instead of throwing it away. The food was still good, so for me, there was no need to just waste it. I would even pack one for myself if I could, especially when I knew they were famished. Surfing takes a lot out of you. Cade, Nico, and Jackson took surfing very seriously. They were some of the best surfers in the area. They would occasionally go up to Huntington Beach to surf when the crowds were lower. It was a popular spot, so it was pretty busy year-round. It was just convenient for them to come to the south side of the pier to surf. It had fewer tourists, and they could walk to it. I have to admit that they were in great shape. Sometimes they would unzip their wetsuits and let the top part of it hang down. I would have been blind not to have noticed how fit they were. They all 3 had a strong 6-pack, but they were all older than me. I also knew that they didn't like me like that. As we were heading to the bike and walking path, I heard Cade call out from behind me, "Calissa?" I stopped and turned as he headed over to me with Nico and Jackson trailing behind him.
I knew it was you. Did you get contact lenses or something? You look different right now,
Cade told me. He then had the grace to flush as he knew that what he had said wasn't necessarily a compliment.
Sorry, I meant to say you look nice, Calissa,
Cade corrected, and Nico and Jackson both nodded in agreement. He was right. My other clothes fit poorly. Ashira had gone shopping with me and got me some new clothes. She grabbed herself a few outfits, too, to keep in my condo. She told me that when we came back from testing, we would go shopping again. She knew I had already lost some weight and told me that I would be losing more as I was going to have to train hard. She knew as well as I did that the deck was stacked against me. I was going to have to work really hard to pass this test to become a member of the kingdom. Thanks, Cade. I'm making some changes in my life, I told him.
We missed you at work tonight. They won't even give us a glass of water. The manager got mad at us when we asked for water. He called us bums. Then when we asked if you were all right, he told us that he had fired you. Why? You were the best employee he had. Anyone could see that,
Cade told me. Are you guys hungry? You can all come over and grab a sandwich and some chips if you want. I can get you all something to drink. I know that surfing takes a lot of energy, I told them. They immediately agreed and grabbed their boards to come with us. I saw that Varun was eyeing them suspiciously. After what happened to me earlier, he didn't trust them. But they were nice, not like the ones from earlier. I trusted them way more than Camilla and Aiden's group of followers. I knew that they would be willing to keep an eye out on my place too while I was gone. They come to surf here every day. They're trustworthy. Plus, it is not like I'm giving them the key to my place. I was just a little nervous now that Camilla and her crew knew where my place was. They also knew that I was taking a trip. I wouldn't put it past them, or one of the rest of the group, to try to throw a rock or brick through my patio glass. I mean, Ethan had said that he would get me back. I'm worried about something happening to my place while I am gone. The guys came with us to my place. They were not speaking much, and I think Varun was a little intimidating to them. He hadn't introduced himself and was giving them all a look that said that he didn't approve of them coming into my home. I will tell them that they're all okay. I have a small list of people that I trust. They were on it, as were 3 of my teachers. Until I met my uncle Ronan, that was the whole list. Now I have my cousins and my uncle on the list. These guys may not like me as much as my new family does, but they have walked me home on several occasions. They helped me out with that. Sometimes it is scary walking home in the dark, alone. Plus, I was leaving in the morning. I didn't want to leave food in my fridge or the trash. They appreciated me feeding them, and they even told me that they would keep an eye out for my new place. They were all pretty happy for me to have moved out of my grandmother's house. I guess it was no secret how my mother and grandmother felt about me. I asked them not to tell my mother or grandmother where I was living now if they happened to ask them. They glanced over at Varun with questions shining in their eyes. I knew they were wondering what kind of relationship we had, but he quickly assured them,
I live next door. She's my cousin. Her father bought her this place.
To make sure they didn't fall for Camilla's lies, I showed them the video of what happened on the beach that morning. They all saw what she did. They all saw that she had intentionally tried to hurt me. I could tell in their eyes that they knew she was the one at fault. They assured me not to worry about my place or my uncle's place while I was gone. I told them that we could have a cookout here when I did get back. They were excited about that. I'm gonna miss them while I'm gone. I'm less anxious about leaving here tomorrow now that I know someone will be looking out for my place. I knew that the biggest obstacle that I had facing me now was going to be passing the test to join the kingdom. I doubt it will be as easy to accomplish as I wish it would be. Chapter 14. Wake-up Call. Kalissa's Point of View. After the guys left, I found out from Varun that all the kingdoms had to turn in the testing reports for the past decade. They wanted a detailed account of who had taken the tests, the route that they had to take, and the outcome of the test. Varun had told me that my uncle had to get that together for the king of Atlantis. That is why Varun had suddenly come back. The timing of this is weird. I could tell that Varun had never heard of this happening before. I wonder what is going on. Why the sudden interest in the testing process? But it wasn't just my father's kingdom, so they might not be looking for anything specific. We both sat there quietly thinking about why the king of Atlantis wanted this information all of a sudden. They might just be looking for something that happened in another kingdom and not want to make it obvious. If they had requested it just from one kingdom, it would be apparent to all of them who they were looking into. It was smart to just do it for all of them. I hope it isn't my father's kingdom. I don't want my arrival to be connected to whatever this witch hunt is. We stayed on my balcony and watched the waves roll in. The sound of them hitting the shoreline has always calmed me. Even when I was at work on the pier, hearing the waves always brought me peace. The brightly lit pier was still buzzing with tourists and locals alike. The noise of the area, thankfully, was far enough away to just be white noise for us as we both were lost in our thoughts. It was why my uncle had not been able to come to get me. He had to go through a lot of paperwork and submit the results quickly. The way Varun had spoken made it sound like this request had been urgent. I felt it when Varun stiffened up in his chair a few minutes later and then looked over at me. "What's wrong?" I asked. I have never seen him this serious before, not even with the incident earlier on the beach.
We have royal visitors suddenly arriving in the kingdom. The king of Atlantis' older brother, Peter, and his younger sister, Ophelia, are in our kingdom now. One of Ophelia's friends came with her. This is not a coincidence, Callie. They have not shown up unannounced like this ever before. Something is going on, and it looks like the kingdom that is under investigation might be ours. They have not come for an unannounced visit like this before. No one knows what they're looking for in our kingdom. I cannot remember this happening before, not in my lifetime. I just asked my father, and he didn't know of this happening before either. They've never shown up out of the blue. They always send a notice before coming. I don't want to scare you, Callie. I doubt it is because of you, but we can't rule it out. The timeline is off, and both Dad and I believe that this could be connected to you.
Varun told me. That is not making me calm down, Varun. I was already a little concerned about going there, and now I'm highly concerned. Do you think it could be for Mariella? I mean, from what you and Uncle Ronan have said, this arrangement has been made since they were both infants. Why now? Their arriving there the day before I was set to arrive kind of makes it seem like they may have a personal issue against me. Do you think it is because Mariella asked someone to give me a hard time on my test? I asked Varun, and we both thought about it. I think that might be the reason why. I hate to say it, Varun, but I'm now really worried about what I'm going to face once I arrive. I've tried to brace myself, preparing for the worst outcome, but my hopes of getting to live there in peace are almost non-existent now. I just wanted to be with my family. Not necessarily my father's pure bloodline children, but the ones who are similar to me. I wanted to be able to visit you and Ashira, my aunt and uncle. I wanted to be friends with whoever was willing to accept me for who I am, even without a pure bloodline. Oddly, more things are unexpectedly popping up. It seems like things are already going against me, I told Varun. I am barely holding back tears right now. I'm trying hard not to have a pity party over this. I had hoped that I'd be able to at least be accepted, to have a nice life there. I just wanted to find friends and be with my family, maybe find someone who would love me. I thought that becoming a mermaid was the best thing that had ever happened to me just a short week ago. Now I don't know what to think. I forced myself to look away from Varun. I didn't want him to know that I was crying. I felt like this wonderful new life that I was building was crumbling around me. I have a lot of questions now. What if I can't pass the test? Do I get thrown out of the kingdom? Lose access to my father before I was even granted access to him? What is going to happen if I fail? I couldn't hold the sob back at the thought of losing my father. I haven't even gotten to see him yet, and it seems like he's going to be torn away from me. Will I be a disappointment to him? I have so many questions flying through my mind, but no answers. I felt Varun grab my hand and give it a little squeeze.
Your father wants a relationship with you, Callie. Don't worry. You will always have us. We love you, and we're here for you. I'm going to speak to Peter when we get there. It may very well be about you, but it may not be for a bad reason. My father wanted to keep this from you. He thought that you would have extra pressure on you because of it, but you're special. No, you're incredibly special. There are a small number of mermaids that are like you. Ashira may have told you that you were special, but it doesn't cover just how important you are. Someone like you comes around about every 500 years. Each one of the special mermaids has become the Queen of Atlantis. They're blessed by Poseidon himself. You may not have known it, but he obviously knew about you. He had to touch you to be able to give you this blessing. You cannot imagine the special powers that you have been given. We have barely scratched the surface.
Varun told me. I was stunned into silence. I was no longer crying. Now I was trying to figure out what was so special about me that I had been given such a blessing. I knew that Ashira had gone on and on about my tail and my hair. She just never told me why. I do know that, along with becoming a new mermaid, I have a lot more confidence than I ever had before. The incident at the beach was the first time I felt the need to shut their bullying down. I knew in my heart that I was just as important as they were, and I wasn't going to put up with it a second longer. I knew in the back of my mind that I wasn't concerned about the outcome or any problems that would arise from it. I was taking back control over my life, and I felt like that was the first step. I wiped the tears from my eyes. It hit me what he said, and I needed him to clarify it for me. Did you just say that each one of the special mermaids, like me, had all become the Queen of Atlantis? I asked him in a low tone.
Yes. All 4 of them had reigned for at least 100 years before passing the crown on. They didn't give birth to a successor that was special like them. The gift of being a blessed mermaid is given directly to you from Poseidon himself. You can't ask for it. He gives it to the people he deems worthy of it. He knew about you, and I'm guessing he probably came to your job at the burger place. You probably looked him in the face as he gave you his special power and ability. He's a powerful god, and he would be able to tell in a moment if you were worthy of it or not. I've never even seen him myself. He rarely leaves the Golden Coral Palace in Atlantis. He occasionally goes to Mount Olympus. He can go anywhere and quickly. He has the gift of teleportation. He can think of another place in his thoughts and transport himself there. That is why Dad wants us to train you separately. Once you're seen, it will be very hard to keep it under wraps.
Varun told me. He was dead serious about what he just told me. I could see it in his eyes. Do you honestly think that the King of Atlantis knows about me? How could it be possible? I mused aloud. I wish I knew more answers about what was going on.
It is very possible. Each kingdom has a seer or oracle. They get visions directly from the gods. They see a prophecy coming and they notify the king about it. You did turn this week. You realize that Poseidon lives in Atlantis with the current king. It is very possible that she saw you and gave the king a heads up. It is not a hidden fact that the king of Atlantis doesn't want to accept your half-sister. She's not a good or kind mermaid. She has not been given a gift, and I happen to know that you have more than two. It seems like Mariella is trying to set you up before you can even arrive at the kingdom. Hopefully the king's siblings can help run interference for you. I know that the second Mariella knows that you're a blessed mermaid, she'll stop at nothing to get rid of you.
Varun told me. I could not stop the shudder that ran through me. I need to listen to everything they teach me. As of now, it is a matter of life and death.
Warning Kano. Chapter 15. Ronan's Point of View. I hated sending Varen to go get Callie. I know that he is a strong warrior, but I don't think he is aware of the plotting that has already begun against her. I overheard a conversation in the hallway before they saw me coming and stopped talking. They know that Kano's youngest child is set to be arriving tomorrow. It's not a secret anymore. I suspect that Doris and Mariella are the main culprits behind the announcement running rampant around the kingdom. I hate saying it, but I am almost positive that my youngest daughter, Serena, may have been the one to have been the original leak. After I got home last night, I had a late dinner with my wife. I had come back to get all of my paperwork in order, as I was going to take a week off to train Callie. Plus, I had to get the testing information that they had just requested completed for Atlantis. They wanted it, and they wanted it now. No prior warning or request had been made previously. The timing is a little suspicious to me. Callie will need to get up to speed, and quickly. I could not have foreseen the request that came in from the King of Atlantis. He may be young, but he is incredibly smart. Kano's oldest son, Troy, took over being in charge of giving the tests. He took over about 3 years ago when he had turned 23. They had gotten a great deal harder over the last 3 years as well. Members who were born inside the kingdom were exempt from having to test. Only the crossbreeds were required to be tested for them to be able to become the members of the kingdom. It was set up against them from the start. I knew that was one of the reasons why Kano had tried to bless each of his children with the humans that carried them. They were always harassed and bullied for not being one of his royal children. I was not going to ask Serena directly, as I knew that she would probably lie right to my face. She would do anything to stay in favor of her royal cousins, Mariella, Alana, and Diana. Of the three, only Diana had been granted special powers. She had the power to cause storms, which wasn't a great power if you think about it, but compared to not getting any powers at all, it was still a blessing. Diana was nicer than Alana and Mariella, but that wasn't really saying much. Their mother, Doris, had spent years condemning humans to all 7 of her children, blaming the humans for Kano cheating, and not on Kano himself. He was the one who knew he was married, not them. I always felt bad as their whole relationship was based on lies. I always had to go with him, just in case they caused him too much of a problem when he went to break it off with them. Doris never accepted fault in any of it. She was the one who forced him to marry her. He never wanted to accept her. It wasn't that she actually loved him either. She didn't. She just wanted to be queen. But with each crossbreed that Kano fathered, she would get madder and madder about it. It was a direct slap in her face, and one that she didn't want to accept anymore. Callie is his last and youngest child. Doris was pregnant with Alana, while Jennifer had been pregnant with Kalisa. I am very concerned about Callie's well-being. So concerned, in fact, that I requested an audience along with my brother tonight after we greeted our unexpected guests from Atlantis. If my suspicions are correct, our guests didn't just come here as a coincidence. I made sure that when I arrived, Doris would not be in the throne room, I needed to speak to him alone. Doris hates humans, and she will end up hating them even more if what I suspect is actually happening is correct. I looked around after entering. I did not want Troy here either. He's next in line for the crown, but he will tell his mother everything that is said in this conversation. I do not want the target on Callie's back to become even larger than it already is. The jealous girls awaiting her are going to be hard to escape. I need Kano to nip it in the bud before she gets here, or things will get out of hand quickly.
Ronan, my brother, how was your trip? How's Kalisa doing?
Kano asked me. That is what I am here to speak to you about, Kano. May we speak in private? I asked and looked at Troy and the guards.
Of course, brother. You are all excused. Please, go get ready for dinner, Troy. We are having guests tonight. Leave the guards outside the door. I am safe with my brother,
Kano announced. I could see the anger in Troy's eyes as he left with the guards. He was insulted at being asked to leave. Kano knew as well as I did that Troy agreed with his mother. He didn't like humans, and he hated crossbreeds.
You are free to speak freely,
Kano said as soon as the door shut. Callie had an incident this morning on the beach, but Varen took care of it. It seems as if she had been picked on for a while. Thankfully, she is free of her mother and grandmother. She's safer now. I have a security system in place, and cameras as well. Varen told me that she stood up for herself today, despite her being outnumbered. I'm very proud of her progress, but she is going to have difficulties when she arrives, brother, I told him. I saw Kano's brows draw together before he finally asked,
Because she is a crossbreed? She's not the only one. She will need to dig deep and just keep training. I know she will be a strong mermaid. I could tell at the moment I held her that she was going to be very special.
She is special, Kano. I didn't report it when I saw her first transformation as I didn't want it to get out. Callie is a blessed mermaid. Her hair transforms when she goes into mermaid form. I have a picture of her here, as Ashura took one of her during training. I took him my phone to show him the picture. I was happy to see tears shining in his eyes as he looked at the daughter that he had not been able to see in the last 18 years.
She is beautiful, Ronan. Is she learning quickly?
Kano asked as he sent the photo of Callie to his cell phone. She is, very quickly. She is very smart and listens to what she is instructed to do. Even during her test, when she lost focus for a little while, she was still able to protect herself against a very large great white. She hid in between two rocks. I set up a course for her to do. She lost about 15 minutes hiding from the shark. She still asked to continue with the test and completed it. She found all 5 flags and still had 3 minutes to spare. She only had a short time left, but she managed to make it back right to the shore right after we did. I want to test her speed. I believe that is one of her blessings, and we already know that she is a shapeshifter, as she can be a human or mermaid. But I know now that she has been blessed by Poseidon too. I would like to find out how many abilities she has. I would like to continue to train her along with my children, in a private area. You know what will happen if anyone sees that she is a blessed mermaid. She will become a threat. I told Kano, and waited to see if he was going to acknowledge it or not.
Yes, Doris is very upset that another one of my disgraceful children is coming. She knew that I never wanted her, but she insisted that I had to marry her. She had always wanted to be queen. She got what she wanted, but I couldn't just let her have the charmed life she wanted. I should not have done what I did, but I was younger and very angry at her forcing me into a loveless marriage. I love every one of my children, but I know that my children with Doris are not accepting of their half-siblings. She taught them to hate humans, but it was not the humans' fault. I was the one who was married. I just didn't like being around Doris and felt like I needed to punish her for forcing me to marry her. That is why each time she insisted on having a child, I had another one outside our marriage, to show her that she could not always control me, or what I do. I can see what the problem will be with Kalisa coming here. I will make sure that you can have the southern training area alone for the next month. I'm excited about meeting her, but I know that Doris is going to try to keep me from her. My brother told me. I could tell how heavy his heart was about having to wait to meet her. He was right. Doris would not allow him to come around Callie, not if he could help it. She will make sure that Callie fails the test and is forced to leave the kingdom. I need to mention this again. I do not think Kano realizes it yet. He doesn't know just how far Doris will go to protect her own children over his. I am positive that Doris will want her dead the moment she sees Callie in her mermaid form. Kano, you need to be prepared to step in and protect Callie. She is a blessed mermaid. You know who she is, and who she is supposed to be. You already know that 3 members of the Atlantis Kingdom are here already. You have to know that is not a coincidence. Even if you haven't thought of it, you know that the King of Atlantis has requested our records for the last 10 years. You know as well as I do that Troy will do what Doris and Mariella ask him to do if he makes the test too hard for Callie. I am worried that a visit from the King of Atlantis will occur in her defense. I think that Callie is supposed to be his mate, and I think that the Oracle at Atlantis has altered him of her existence. We need to tread carefully here, or we will have a very big problem on our hands if Doris or Mariella end up getting Callie hurt. I warned him. I can see that he had thought of it. My words just made the threat that she was facing that much clearer in his eyes.